I've been a guest on roughly 40 podcasts in the last 8 months, and this strategy now equates to 40% of the new clients that join our agency. So I'm going to share with you the steps to be a guest on other people's podcasts and how to use it to grow your business over the next 12 months, and also how to repurpose these appearances into your short form content for social media and kill all these birds with one stone. And if you haven't tuned into the show before, my name's Aaron Whitnish. I'm the co-founder of Content Only, and our agency creates in the region of 500 original videos and written posts for our business owner clients every single month. And we'll start with this story. I'll rewind the clock back to December 2023. This is in fact an episode that is live somewhere in the library where I declared that one of the things that I was going to do is get on a podcast once a fortnight. I was using an outdated strategy at the time. I was going on LinkedIn, going to the search bar, typing in podcast hosts, filtering to people, looking for the marketing and advertising industry, trying to build rapport by connecting with hosts, coming in with an angle that could add value to their listeners. Very time heavy strategy. Then one day, I forget exactly when it was, whether it's December or January, I got a message, I believe it was on LinkedIn, and someone said, go check out Podmatch. And it's kind of like the Tinder, for lack of a better description, for the podcasting world. You've got hosts on one side and aspiring guests on the other. And every few hours, you get matches and you review the show, see if it's a audience that you could add value to. And then if you think you can, you hit match, and then you go message the host and you pitch your angle for the show. And then if they see it as a match also, then you schedule a time to go on the podcast. So that's how it works. So there's a bit of groundwork that's required in order to be a fit to get on podcasts initially. Now, I was coming in having my own podcast, so I had that footprint online. I'd been on podcasts before, so I could share some episodes. I had a pretty good content footprint, so I knew I had a reasonable enough angle and social proof for people to take a chance and put me on their shows. And if I performed, I knew that I could leverage those appearances to get on future shows. Now, if you're in a position where you're starting from scratch, which I've had a number of clients that we've worked with this year that are in that position, they don't have a content footprint, they don't have pre-existing authority in their niche that they can leverage, or having been on other podcasts, they've been able to get their way onto a couple of less known podcasts that are also starting out that can't attract the big guests yet, and then start to put content online to build up their social proof, and then use those episodes and those guest appearances as leverage to get on future shows. So the first thing that you need to do is join Podmatch, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Of course, you can Google it to check it out. What you want to do is have your social profiles in there that link back to any content that you've already got, so hosts can get a vibe, see what your subject matter expertise is, and tick a few unconscious boxes. So the more existing content and social media following that you've got, the more this is going to help. If not, start posting content immediately. The second thing that you need to do, and probably even more important, is the hook. What is the angle? What is the reason that someone will get you on the show? What are you going to teach their audiences? So I've had the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system, which is perfect because that's been the product that our agency has offered in the marketplace this year. So to come on and talk about that system, and then have the opportunity at the end to say, if you want to go get the system, download it from our website, which is where all the leads and the client opportunities have been coming from. So you need to come up with your hook. What's your version of the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system that you can have on your profile? So if a host that doesn't know you sees that hook, goes, yes, I'd love my audience to get access to that system, to that topic. So just substitute it with your process for getting an outcome. With clients, feel free to message me if you're not sure and you want a few ideas based on who your target audience is. The next thing that you do is you provide a list of questions that you can answer. So this helps the host save time with their research and what they're going to ask you, but also provides further context on the value that you can deliver. So the more quality questions you can put on your profile, the more attractive you are going to be to have on the show. Then what's really powerful, and this is the part that's actually grown our agency and is providing a predictable stream of organic leads and new clients that we're getting very healthily from this strategy, is you have, I guess you call it a CTA section, or an angle where you put in what you offer or where you'd like to send listeners of the episode. So us, we drive them to our contentonly.au website where they can download the system for free that I'm talking about on the show, and then they can watch the system, and if they want us to do it for them, then they can apply after watching the system, and that's how we're getting clients. So if you have a lead magnet, or you have a test drive, a sample, a demonstration, a training of your offer, and you're going on podcasts, you're getting exposure to thousands of people at a time, and and the host is directing them back to your resource, you're going to start driving a lot of leads, and this is what's going to grow your business. Now, if you're getting on shows every week like I am at the moment, they sit in the library. Once it's in the library, as more and more people discover that podcast and they work their way through the library, they come to your episode, they listen, they spend 30, 60 minutes listening to your value positioned as an expert guest. If they get to the end of the episode, clearly they enjoyed the conversation. There's a very qualified lead that's then going to that resource that's very far along the buying timeline compared to a cold lead. So this is why it's so powerful. So every day, now that there's over 40 episodes out there, I've got people discovering these shows in the libraries, listening to it, and then coming back to our 30 days in 90 minutes system. So it's compounding and snowballing, which is why I knew if I gave enough time to this particular strategy, it would be a game changer to the business. And I want to preface that if you're going to go down this path, commit to it. Go, I'm going to give a solid 12 months. I'm going to set the intention of getting on one podcast a week as a minimum, and you'll easily do it after a little while. You get matches every single day, and all you need to do is be proactive with your messaging, with your follow-ups. It takes 10 minutes, so you're investing a maximum of 50 minutes a week into finding hosts. But as soon as you start getting on shows, you'll start to be able to get on bigger shows because they'll see your footprint. You get reviewed by the host. So if you've got 5-star ratings, all my ratings are fortunately 5-star. So that helps other people see that I can be a quality guest, and of course you can share those examples with them. So this, as I said, will compound and snowball for your brand. And imagine if you've got those 50 or 52 episodes out there in the online world, having a digital footprint under the expert interview context for your brand. Now, the next layer to this is you've got 52 videos. You can then repurpose those videos and conversations into short form videos. So this is where you've got your tools like Opus Clip, Get Munch that are really helpful. You just share the link to the episode. It'll cut sub 60-second clips, and you can put the captions on top of them, and then you've got your content ready to go for short form social media. So if you're getting on podcasts, it's a really powerful way to handle your content creation in the future and moving forward. The next advantage is you don't have to produce the content. The host, their team, their production side are the ones that do all the editing. They write the copy, they upload it, they do all the heavy lifting. They've built the audience that you're getting exposed to as an expert. You didn't have to build that. So it's one of the most leveraged content formats, and they're usually plugging you and driving traffic to your resource at the end of every episode. So if you've got the ability to service clients in multi-locations, particularly if you're in an advisory space and you're not utilizing podcast guest appearances, which are really easy, once you've done a few, you realize that you just need to read up a little bit on the show, and then you just show up and go through the questioning process, and you'll get very good at answering the questions because you'll get them a lot. You'll get used to being on podcasts, so once you've done it a handful of times, you'll be very confident, and doesn't matter what curveball gets thrown at you, you'll usually have a go-to story or response that adds a ton of value to the listeners and to their audience. It's now responsible for 40%-ish of the new clients coming into our business, and I can imagine that's only going to compound into the future. So if that's happened in 8 months, imagine if you commit to that for your business. What's it going to look like in absolute worst case scenario? You've got all this digital content out there creating great social proof for your brand. You can repurpose it into other content that you can reuse, so you don't have to go through and shoot content all the time and upload. So go to Podmatch, jump on there, set up a profile, get your hook right, get your questions on there, get your content on your social media, so when people check you out, they find something. Get those first couple episodes in the bank, add them to your profile so you become an attractive guest to go add value to their audiences. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit subscribe and follow so you can catch all new future episodes on demand. If you can leave a 5-star review, that will help more people discover the show. And as always, if you want access to the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system, head to contentonly.au, download that for free.